So I guess I just wanted to go into what really is the next evolution of LumiVitae. And I say that it's the next evolution, but it always was in the plan for us to be this. So as we go through this, I want you to know like this really is and as we go in this journey, we are going to go on a journey together. Our product is going to keep evolving. We're going to keep having some amazing things kind of come into this space. And ultimately, it's because we are going to be really focusing on what does actually light-backed actually mean. I mean, ultimately, light-backed really means, really being in coherence, really looking after our nervous systems, really looking after each other in a really coherent way, showing up really coherently. And that to me, when we are all in coherent states, then we are ultimately all in resonance and therefore we are in light. And so that is why LumiVitae is called light of life. But light is not just a metaphor here. It is literally an organized force behind coherence. And so that is where you'll see things like light and breath and frequency and rhythm and signal. These are all things to bring our bodies into coherence, to bring our nervous systems especially into coherence, so that we have more energy, so that we're able to perform as we need to, so that we actually feel safe and sound within our bodies. Because we know we are going through a big evolution right now. Our bodies have seen a massive transformation over the last 100 years in terms of technology. We've seen, cars replace a horse and cart. We've seen factories. All of that stuff has happened in the last 100 years, right? Our nervous systems have gone from being in an environment that was relatively slow and steady and able to keep up with it, from an environment where we lived within the seasons to us now living all over the world in different time zones, working in different time zones, never truly being really off, right? We weren't designed to be that way. We were designed to live in a cyclical, rhythmic environment. That's the way our nervous systems were really designed. But what we see now is as we come into this next phase of human evolution, that last 100 years is going to be condensed in the next 5 to 10. 10, best case scenario, probably more like 5, could even be 3. So this is how fast we're going to be expected to upgrade so dramatically within a world that is throwing out so many chaotic signals, right? So we've already seen, I'm sure maybe some of you, has anyone even played with Claude Bot, for example? When you even start playing with it, you're like, oh my goodness, how do I even keep up now? There's so much out there. What we want to do is make sure that through light, and you'll see more of what that means, that we're restoring the coherence within inside the human body. We know we are in the age of AI. We are upgrading everything externally. All of this intelligence, this robotics, all of this stuff is really kind of, in many ways, starting to not disable, well, maybe in some ways, but destabilize us. But we're not focusing on the internal intelligence system, the intelligence system that has actually been there since the dawn of time, our adaptive intelligence, the human body, but more specifically, the nervous system. The nervous system is the operating system for the human body. In the same way AI has all of their software and all that side of things, that's their version of a nervous system in them. But for us, our human body, this is what is our own adaptive intelligence. So in a very, the human nervous system is so incredibly intelligent that it's able to adapt to different stresses and speed and stimulation, and it adapts for survival. But the thing is, it's adapted for survival where it's meant to be short-term bursts of survival, running away from the tiger or doing, not stuck in this fight and flight. We've all probably felt what it's like to be stuck in this flight and fight, right? Where we've got massive levels of anxiety, massive levels of people triggering through their nervous system, stuff held within our nervous system that we haven't found a way to truly release. Even if we look at things like light-backed wealth, to truly hold the level of wealth, your nervous system needs to learn how that becomes a safety space, not a threatening space. So what we want to do with our products, with our community, with our leadership, with the way that we create wealth, is really create this space of true coherence. So tonight I'm going to introduce to you LUMA. Now you've already seen a little bit of LUMA, but what I want you to understand is that LUMA is not just a bottle. We are truly making true cognitive water, true functional water, true water that allows our foundation of our nervous system to really become coherent. So as I go through these different levels here, so let me introduce to you LUMA and what that truly is. And we know already that we have our 4 different colors of LUMA in malachite, halo, aurora, and terra. So I want to just kind of go through what LUMA is and some of the differences. Some of you already have a previous bottle with us. What are some of the differences that we have with this? And then I'm going to dive into some pretty exciting stuff, which you're going to hear for the first time here, a sneak peek before it goes official in April. So you're going to hear a sneak peek in here inside of what we're doing with LUMA. Because as I said, we are making this full ecosystem of LUMA. So let me tell you first, the very first thing about LUMA is that we have now this dual chamber. Now, what does this dual chamber ultimately mean? It means that we can literally put any liquid inside of it. It becomes a universal liquid compatibility. That means that whilst you could put coffee or anything, tequila or whatever you wanted in there technically, but we would want you to put in things that are going to make more functional water, more cognitive water. We genuinely want to make truly smart water with what we've got inside of here. So those dual chambers allow us to do that. It also allows us to have higher ppm. So inside of the LUMA, we have 5 ppm on your general setting. It allows us to have consistent hydrogen. It allows the molecules to be more saturated inside the bottle as well. It's also allowed us to create a bigger bottle so you can have more liquid on hand, so you can stay more hydrated. And it's through that dual chamber that has enabled us to be able to create that, so we have literally more liquid in there. Now, I want you to really understand that this is a really big deal. We spent a lot of time with R&D. As you would have maybe have seen me going back and forth to Asia all the time with our different R&D people, with Dr. Tyler LeBaron, who was very integral in getting this created for us. So it's a really big deal that we have this amazing chamber that really does allow for universal liquid compatibility. Yes, you could use it to put coffee in and all those other things. But we also know, here's the thing, what is a very big growing space is functional water. This allows you to make your own functional water, to tailor make your functional water to you. And not just tailor make it, but amplify it, because it's going to have pure, beautiful molecular hydrogen inside of there. So that's the base, that's the foundation of our amazing LUMA bottle. And then we have our interchangeable lids. So our interchangeable lids that allow us to do different things for different parts of the body. Now, first, I'm going to go through the interchangeable lid that is called our signal lid. Now, our signal lid comes standard with our LUMA bottle. So this is the lid that always comes with our LUMA bottle. And why signal? Because what we know is that ultimately the nervous system responds to signal. It responds to different timing, it responds to breath, it responds to different energy states. That's what our nervous system ultimately responds to. And how does it respond to that? It responds through a signal. We also have our prism lid. This is very exciting. I'm going to go through in a moment what that is because it is so exciting. I can barely even hold it together how exciting it is, this prism lid, because ultimately I'm so excited because of who has helped us co-create it. Okay, but let's get into the signal lid. Breath. We know breath is ultimately the most direct way that our nervous system can ultimately be supported. So we have breathwork mode inside of our LUMA. It literally breathes with you. The timing of it, if it is focused, if it is for you to get into a calm state, if it is for you to get in an energetic state, if it is for you to get into a restorative state, you just simply breathe along with your LUMA bottle. So as you're sitting there watching it beautifully bubble away and the beautiful colors that we have that are associated with what you need for each of those states, you simply just breathe with it. It is a signal. It is a signal to ask you to breathe, to induce the state that you want to induce. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's breath. Next, we have LUMI, which is really our circadian light signals. This is when it tells our system to either activate, to rest, to restore. It tells us when it is morning at dawn, when it is midday at soul, when it is dusk and time to start slowing down, and when it is nighttime called moon, where you have a very very dark amber red color, which mimics embers from a fireplace. Now, back in like a long time ago, that's how we would go to sleep, with those dark red embers. That's how our circadian rhythms would come in coherence with everybody else in our environment around us. So that is the timing signal that we have. And then the last one inside of the signal lid is being. This is using chromotherapy to create different energetic signals. This is to really influence the nervous system and to bring it into a state of coherence that, again, you want to create. So we have different colors that obviously resonate with different energy states. So whether it is love and you're opening up your heart, and there's the colors that go through that, and each of them also is paired with a different set of breathing for each of those levels. So that's our signal lid. It's creating signals to support your nervous system. It's creating signals that we see actually naturally in nature in different areas that is creating your nervous system to get back into rhythm. So, celebrating the launch of LUMA, which is really exciting because this is where I get to give you a sneak peek into not just the bottle, but into a bigger ecosystem that is being created. A bigger ecosystem that has been created with some of the best, most incredible minds in the world. So, when I started out with LumiVitae and when I started out with LUMA, there was this vision of how do we help but how do we help support and nurture our nervous system? How do we look after and maintain our light? How do we move through the world that is changing so rapidly and really look after ourselves internally in our own operating system? And to be honest, it's probably because my own nervous system has suffered so much with all different kinds of traumas and different kinds of autoimmunes that I've had, that it probably led me on this journey to be like, we are going through a massive revolution and evolution of mankind. How do I ensure that nobody actually goes through the things that I personally have been through, although I'm sure many of you have already been through those? But as we're going through this massive expansion, how do we help humanity to be held, to be safe? That has led to an incredibly powerful collaboration that emerged from this vision. A quantum physicist appeared on an island called Necker Island, almost about a year ago. His name was Nassim Harim. I got to speak with him. I got to spend an entire week with him to tell him why I am so passionate about LumiVitae. It has taken me about 8 or 9 months to get him to be fully on board with what it is that we're creating within LumiVitae. And I'm so excited because that lid that I spoke to you about, the prism lid, he has been the co-creator of that with us. I actually, when I was in Switzerland, before I went to Davos, I went to Switzerland to meet him, to see his technology, to go through his laboratory, to meet all of his people, to spend days with him and lunches with him and really get to understand what this really is. It was absolutely phenomenal. So I am probably beaming with excitement because I actually tell you, this is somebody that I have listened to for probably 7 or 8 years and been just so thrilled that I got to meet him. The universe works in the most incredible, miraculous ways. And for me, he is proof of how incredible and how there's beautiful synchronicities that show up when you're truly in alignment with what it is that you're creating. And then someone else showed up in this journey of creating the ecosystem of LUMA. This amazing individual called Dr. Rewire. He literally helps to rewire your nervous system. He has different techniques and different ways to, I guess, diagnose or categorize the different brain that you operate from. So not only is he now helping us with how to create more coherent or more light-backed communities and more light-backed leadership, but it's also supporting us through our own DNA of how we actually support the different brains that we have, the different nervous systems that we have, with also a line of amazing products that sit around that as well. And of course, we have our hydrogen scientist, Dr. Tyler LeBaron, who was really this dream. Tyler, how do we create this? Even though Tyler doesn't always necessarily believe in some of these other amazing things that happen outside of it, he was like, but I will just make sure that foundation is incredible, that we have the most amazing molecular hydrogen, and that you're able to create this functional water for this entire ecosystem that you're wanting to create around it. So this was really a co-creation to hold a revolution, your elevation, our expansion, a co-creation to hold you and your nervous system during the greatest change our nervous systems will have ever seen. Designed to really support your signal, to create cohesion, and to hold the very system that makes you human, your light. So with this, I ask you to be part of this evolution that we are creating here. This is the last month that we are going to have something very exciting for LUMA. From the 2nd of the 2nd, which was technically actually yesterday, until the 3rd of the 3rd, we are celebrating the launch of LUMA, which goes live on the 3rd of the 3rd. It was very intentional, those dates, and very intentionally in the new year of the horse to be able to have this amazing product. But we thought, let's celebrate this beforehand and launch our founder pack. Our founder pack, whatever that is in euro, Cindy will probably go through that detail afterwards. This founder pack that between the 2nd of the 2nd to the 3rd of the 3rd, you will be able to not just get the LUMA, but a whole range of amazing things that I'm about to talk about in a minute. And you want to jump on this because from the 3rd of the 3rd, this goes to our normal retail price of $777. And it goes to our normal retail price of $888 if you want all of the lids and the LUMA inside of it as well. So I know many of you have been asking, when do we finally get the LUMA if we bought it back in October? I know that there are many that celebrated in that space. So delivery starts on March 3rd. So from now until then, we have created this LUMA Founder Bundle. This amazing bundle to really help celebrate and co-create with what we're really creating here. So we have, with that, with every purchase of the LUMA inside of the pre-sale price, we have this platinum card. In that platinum card, you get 25% off general event tickets in 2026 with LumiVitae. You get 25% off future LUMA products, very big deal. And you get 50% off our cell power bottle and membership to our House of Light. You also get both lids, right? So you also get the prism lid by our amazing Nassim, and you also get the signal lid. And for those of you that are wondering, for those of you that bought it back in October, you get this too. So for anyone that already has purchased LUMA as part of that, you also get this as well. So we're really excited with that. But that's not all. We also have, obviously, to celebrate the, Nassim and some other amazing people coming on board, a really special event that will be happening called the Unified Signal, which is really how we actually look after our bodies, our energy and our energetic state with the new movement that we're going through. And for those of you that are part of the LUMA founders, you're going to get a live, non-recorded, close seat with these three incredible people, actually, and some other people that we have added in there as well, for 3 hours of this closed door experience for those of you that are really part of that. So that is our LUMA. And I cannot wait for you guys to all get this incredible device in your hands and the entire ecosystem that goes around it. So with that, I will hand you over to Cindy, who has